So, Chris, what's this year been like for you?
It's been pretty exciting so far. I mean, obviously with the hot start and being at the top of the division, I think there's a lot to be said for playing for a winning team. And whenever you're successful, I think there's a certain feeling of satisfaction knowing that your teammates can count on you and knowing that you're getting the job done. So it's been a wild ride so far.
When did you feel like you started to turn the corner as a hitter?
I think last year, towards the end of the season, September, the end of August, I really felt like I found something that I could really hold on to. It was kind of my approach in the cage, and we basically just cut down on some swings. I'm known as a guy who'll go in there and take swings till I'm blue in the face, but we cut down on the work and really worked on the quality number of swings, and it's really taken off for me.
Was there a moment, was there a day when you felt it all click in?
The 3 home run game against Toronto was kind of one of those, okay, maybe this is starting to work a little bit moments. And then, really I was looking at video the other day at the postseason at bats against CC and in Andy Pettit, 2 tough lefties, guys that have been around a long time that really know how to pitch. And I was really staying through the ball, staying on them really well. And I think that was kind of a point where I was like, all right, I can get this going a little bit.
Mechanically, what's the biggest difference in you as a hitter compared to before?
I think there's a lot less movement before the pitch. I think in Texas there were a lot of rhythm and timing issues. I was moving a lot. My head was all over the place. I was turning in and not really giving myself a chance to put a good clean bat path swing on the ball. And that's kind of what we've worked on here. Being still, keeping my head in the same spot, and really letting the ball travel.
You mentioned Texas. What was the toughest time for you with the Rangers?
At first I would have said the World Series being left off the roster, but thinking back, I think 2011 when the season started, I had gone and played winter ball the year before, or that winter before, and came in and had a really good camp. Thought I had a chance to make the team and was sent down. Came up, played off the bench a little bit, was hitting the ball well, and got sent down again. And I just kind of felt like there was no hope and didn't know if I was going to have to ride it out the rest of the year in AAA, or if there was going to be a chance that I would get traded.
Now, when you talk about no hope, were you at any point, were you beginning to lose faith that you could come in and be a really good player in the big leagues?
I don't think it was really as much, lose faith in that I could do it at the big league level. Just didn't know if I was going to get the shot, and didn't know if I really wanted to wait around. And I think it's funny because, I talk about waiting for 2 or 3 years, and you hear about guys waiting for 9 and 10 years. And there were times when I really thought, am I supposed to be doing something else? Is this what I'm here for? And fortunately for me, I was traded over here, and it's been a good ride since then.
If you weren't playing baseball, then what would you be doing?
That's a good question. First thing I probably think I might be a youth pastor. That's something that's kind of a passion of mine. And the other thing, and it's something I might want to do when I get out of baseball, is something with training. I like that a lot. Have a great interest in it. It's something that I really enjoy doing.
Why the choice of the heavy bat?
It's been always something that I've seen guys like Josh Hamilton, Nelson Cruz, guys that I played with in Texas that were bigger guys. I always noticed that they swung a bigger bat, and I always thought, I don't need that, and I was so limited on what I had that I didn't really branch out until last year, and I just, I picked up a bat. It was M356, same model that Jim Thome swings, and I got a little bit longer, a little bit heavier, and started swinging it, and I really liked it. And it, after a while, it became my model. Now a 34-inch bat feels kind of small to me, which is crazy to say.
Now, what is it about your mechanics that allows you to use a bat that big and to swing for power and still be hitting over 330?
Well, I think a lot of times with a lighter bat, I was too whippy, if that's even a word. I try to chase everything. I try to go get everything, and with a bigger bat, I think I stay back a little bit better. Plus, I think it's just a feel, knowing that I don't have to go get the ball, that if I let it travel, I have enough to get the job done.
What would it be like for you to play in the All-Star game?
It would be, a special honor. I think it's something that as a kid you always dream about, something that you, hope to attain someday. But you don't ever know how hard it is until you get to this point. But being in New York, a place we go 3 times a year, a place I enjoy going, whether it's Yankee Stadium or Citi Field, and I think it would be a special honor.
How'd you get the nickname the Incredible Hulk?
Oh, I would probably have to say C.J. Wilson was probably the first guy to dub me the Incredible Hulk, and If I let my hair grow out, which is probably not going to happen, I kind of have the Lou Ferrigno fro. And last year they were so kind as to put a picture of he and I,
Who
side
did
by
that?
side. Somebody in our PR department put it on the jumbotron and had this soft theme music in the background. And it wasn't until then that I really realized, like, God, dude, you kind of look like the guy. So got a pretty good physique, but it's one of those fun things.
You want to meet him?
I would like to meet him. Yeah, I've seen. He's obviously been in some movies. He was in a TV show, but I think just for what he's done throughout his whole life, having the disability that he has, and still being able to succeed, I think it would be cool to meet him.
Now, you tell a great story about that day you got to pitch in Boston. So if you can, walk me through that day.
Okay, we'll go through the offensive side first, since that was probably the worst day ever, and maybe statistically in the history of the game. Started out as a DH, and I think it was my first 4 at-bats, and then the first 9 innings I was 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. And it was one of those days when you walk up to the plate, your first appearance, and you kind of see some pitches, you're like, man, I don't think I have it today. You don't ever think you're going to strike out 8 times or 6 times or however many, 5 times. But of course, I ended up getting 8 at-bats. We play 16 or 17 innings, and it's getting close to the end, and I walked back in the dugout after like my 4th or 5th strikeout, and I was like, somebody please score a run before I have to go hit again, And Buck kind of looks at me. Jim Johnson was in his 2nd inning of work, and he said, hey, CD, you got your glove? And I said, yeah. And he goes, run down to the bullpen. He goes, if we don't score here, you got to go back out there. Jimmy's done. And I'm like, sweet, all right. And initially, all I wanted to do was light up the radar gun. I kind of wanted to see what I had.
And Buck knows that, because that's Buck's
Yeah.
personality. He knew about your history as a pitcher.
Yeah, and we had talked about it a little bit, not a lot, but he knew that I had pitched in junior college and that I had somewhat of a background. So, I went out there and warmed up. I probably threw about 60 pitches warming up. Didn't have anything left in the tank by the time I took the field, but it all worked out.
So what was it like to pitch?
It was crazy. Everybody always asked me if I was really nervous, and I wasn't. And I think it's because you're not expected to do well. You're just expected to go out there and try to throw strikes, but you're not expected to strike anybody out or, throw 90 miles an hour or anything like that. So, it was pretty cool. I think I went back and looked at it not too long ago because I had kind of lost the memory a little bit, and I didn't realize that I would have had a 1-2-3 inning, but Wilson Betterman missed the backhand, and I'm gonna have to wear him out about that the next time I see him. But it was a great thing. I think the relay throw will be on our highlight reel for years.
What's it like to play for Buck, and who on the team gives the best impression of Buck?
Oh, that's tough, man. We have a really good group of guys, and it's really tough to get away with anything in our clubhouse. I feel like somebody's always watching, and Buck knows that. We had a talent show in spring training, and we all imitated the coaching staff, and Buck kind of looked around and said, oh yeah, they're watching. But he's a great dude. He's one of those guys where he's always going to be prepared, and that's something that's kind of rubbed off on all of his players. He has this attitude that I'm going to prepare myself to win, whatever it takes, and then I'm going to go out there and I'm going to play the game. And I think that we've really adopted his attitude. He's kind of rubbed off on us the last couple of years, and that's been one of the reasons we've been so successful.
Manny Machado's 20 years old still.
Yeah.
He's been in the big leagues less than a year. Describe him as a player.
I think we all thought Manny was going to be a good player. We expected great things from him defensively, which obviously we've seen, but I think he has really matured this year at the plate. And not only just, the fact that he's hitting the double every other at bat, but just the way his at-bats are going. He doesn't swing at a lot of balls out of the strike zone. If he does, you see him make the adjustment quickly. And, it's funny that you say he's 20 years old because he doesn't play like it. And it's one of those rare times in the game when you realize, how special a player he is and how rare he is to come along at this time. Arch? Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate you doing it.
You've seen Kuroda twice.
Uh-huh.
The first time you saw him was on our air, the 14th in New York.
Yeah, I had a terrible
Second time
game.
You saw him, then you saw him again, and
Yeah.
you've obviously fared
Yeah.
better against him. I was just wondering where that the genesis of that? You go look at film.
I did.
Get a better sense of how he was going to try to attack you?
I did, and I thought for a while that I was cursed by you guys, because every time we had an ESPN game, I'm like, sweet, like we're on ESPN tonight, and I just friggin' blow it. But I think the first few times I faced him, he threw a lot of balls out of the strike zone, and early in the count too. So it wasn't like he was trying to get ahead. It was kind of like, I'm gonna see if I can get this guy to chase, and of course I did. And the last time we faced him, I just kind of said, I'm gonna try to make him throw strikes, and I got in a favorable. I think it was actually 3-0, and he threw a couple of strikes, and then he left one up. So same thing with CC last night. The last time we faced him, I had some success, but I made him throw strikes last night. I was super aggressive, and he just used it against me. So you're always learning.